So, welcome all of you to today's class. The last class we are discussing about Stephen Spender. I believe that we have stopped here when we are discussing about Stephen Spender. Briefly, we also discussed in the last class now detailed description about Stephen Spender. Stephen Spender, the son of a journalist, was born in London in 1909. So he is a Britisher. He was a son of a journalist. He was born in 1909. He was educated at the University College Oxford, that is in England, where he met W.H. Auden. W.H. Auden is a very famous poet and a writer. Spender left university without taking a degree and went to Berlin in 1930. So even though he joined Oxford University, he did not complete his degree. Without completing his degree, he went to Berlin in 1930. His poems appeared for the first time in 1933. Spender took a keen interest in politics and declared himself a socialist and a pacifist. Understand these two words. In the textbook, in the beginning itself, it is given he is a socialist as well as a pacifist. What do you mean by socialist? Socialist means a person who believes that equal right in everything should be given to all the people, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, and economic background. That means equality, equal income, equal opportunity, etc. Pacifist. He is considered as a pacifist also. Why he is a pacifist? Because he is against war. He wanted that all kind of dispute should be settled by means of negotiation. യുദ്ധത്തിനെതിരാണ് ചർച്ചയിൽ കൂടി എല്ലാ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളും പരിഹരിക്കുക. Therefore he is a pacifist. It is coming from the word peace. In 1937 he went with the international brigades and the Spanish Civil War. Harry Polet, head of the Communist Party, told Spender to go and get killed. We need a Byron in the movement. Byron is another poet. We know that Lord Byron. He told that Byron also shared almost the same kind of ideas, and that is why this communist told that you go and get killed during the war. Spender relived his experiences of the war in poems from Spain and runs the visions. So his experience in the war, when he went to fight in the war, he says that he has just narrated his experience in the two poems that is published later. That is, one is Poems from Spain, that was published in 1939, and Runes and Visions, published in 1941. Continuation slide. We have come to the next slide. If you are not able to see, you just tell me. In 1941, Spender married the pianist Natasha Litvin. His wife's name is, she is a pianist, her name is Natasha. During the Second World War, he enlisted in the London Fire Service. So during the Second World War, he joined in the London Fire Service. Spender also co-edited Horizon with Cyril Connolly and later edited Encounter. Encounter is a daily, very famous national daily. He became an editor, and again Horizon is another weekly in which he became a co-editor. Co-editor means with somebody else, that is Cyril. With Cyril, he edited that particular paper also. After the war, Spender joined UNESCO as a globe-trotting cultural emissary. He also worked for the Congress for the Cultural Freedom, for International Pen and British Council. So he has got a large variety of experience in different fields. Books by Spender include Poems of Dedication, Poems of Dedication, a book by him, The Edge of the Being, another book by him, and autobiography Bold Within World, another 1951 published ചെയ്തതാണ്. The Creative Element, 1953, published. The Struggle of the Modern, 1963, published. The Generous Days, 1969, published. And Love-Hate Relations, 1974, published. In 1970, Spender became professor of English at the University College in London. So in 1970, he became a teacher, a professor in a University College in London, a post he held for 7 years. So there he worked for 7 years. Stephen Spender died in 1995. So Stephen Spender, he died in 1975. So we are going to see another lesson in which we will also be coming across Stephen Spender. His poetic works, his famous poetry works, 9 Experiments published in 1928, 20 poems published in 1930, The Still Center 1939 published, Ruins and Visions 1942 published, Poems Dedication published in 1947, The Edge of Being published in 1949, The Generous Days published in 1971, Collected Poems published in 1928 to 1985. Everything together published in a big book. Dolphins published in 1994. He also wrote some fictions. His fictions are given here. The Burning Cactus, 1936. He published in 1936. It's a story. The Background Sun, published in 1940. Engaged in Writing, published in 1958. The Temple, written between 1928 and published in 1988. He also wrote certain dramas. His dramas are given here. Trial of a Judge, published in 1938. Rasputin's End, opera libretto music by Nicholas Nabokov in 1958. So it is written by somebody else, but he has produced as drama. It was written by Nicholas Nakovas. Is a musical drama and he converted into drama. In the Oedipus trilogy, published in 1985. Now we are coming to this particular poem. This poem, written during the time of civil rights movement in the United States, is fitting both in its commentary about race issues in American education and as a socialist proclamation against capitalism and social injustice in general. We are going to learn about an elementary classroom in a slum. So this particular poem, we are concerned on this particular, whatever we have just discussed earlier is a general idea about the poet and his writings. But now we are specifically coming to the poem. When we come to this particular poem is actually written during the time of the civil rights movement. Those of you who are studying history and those who have studied history in class 10, you will know what was the civil rights movement which existed or which took place in United States of America. And he says that this was published during that time. He said, betting both in the commentary about race issue. There is race issue in America, especially in American education. The black people, the Negroes were not given equal right to participate themselves in education. So there was racial issue. So his publishing of this particular poem timed with the civil rights movement in America, when there was no equality in education for the black and white, is actually his idea, his principle for socialist proclamation and against capitalism and social injustice in general. So he was against capitalism and he was a socialist and he was against injustice that is shown to the black people. Although Spender was a British, we know that he was born in Britain, his extreme left-leaning political ideologies were in response to the global question concerning social injustice. So when he was living, during his time, there was global social injustice. That means throughout the world there was injustice, there was discrimination on the basis of color, on the basis of birth, etc. And that was much more in America. And that is why he was actually concerned about the question of social injustice. His poem does not explicitly name any country. This particular poem or any of his poems, he does not make a mention of a particular country. Even this let's say this elementary classroom in a slum, which we are going to study right now, in that also there is no mention is made about any particular country, but this publication of this particular poem was actually exactly at the time when civil rights movement was taking place in United States. Therefore, it was relevant. His poem does not explicitly name any country. It doesn't name any location or any particular race or citizenship. Means it's general. Spender's intent, his intention, what was he trying to do, was to shed light on social injustice worldwide. So why he published this particular poem or other poems which is similar to this theme? Because he wanted to just shed light, means give idea, bring people to realization about the social injustice that is prevalent throughout the world. Regardless of Spender's own ethnicity means we know that he belonged to England, but even then he was writing for everybody. The hotbed of his global struggle was American civil rights movement. So we understand that this particular poem was written at the time when there was a civil war in America. So the hotbed means what prompted him to write this particular poem, probably the American civil war. But then he was also having the understanding that the same kind of discrimination in different ways is available throughout the world. Now we are coming to the poem. We will discuss the poem word by word. Just see the beginning of the poem, the first line, you understand with the visual. Far, far from gusty waves. Far, far from means very far from gusty waves. What do you mean by gusty waves? You can see in the picture, the waves are coming to the shore. Now the poet says that far, far from gusty waves. Gusty means restless. Waves means തിരമാലകളാണ്. Because if we go to the seashore, we can understand that these waves continuously the waves are coming. They have no rest. It goes on beating the shore one after another. ഒരു വേവ് വന്ന് തിരിച്ചു പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവിടെ നിൽക്കുന്നില്ല, അടുത്ത വേവ് അതിൻ്റെ പുറകെ വരും. That means a continuous restless movement of the waves are there. Far, far from gusty waves. These children faces like rootless weeds. Look at the faces of these children. These visuals I have just simply selected in order to give you an idea how the faces of the children in the slum area appears to be. You see, the first line of the poem says, far, far from gusty waves, these children's, you look at the picture, these children's, ഈ കുട്ടികളുടെ faces like rootless weeds. അവരുടെ മുഖത്തേക്ക് നോക്കിയാൽ എന്താണ് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാകുന്നത്? The poet is actually making a comparison. This is the first ornament which is used by the poet in the beginning of the poem itself. So these children's faces is just like a rootless weeds. What do you mean by rootless weeds? Rootless weeds means uprooted weeds. Weeds എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ കളകളാണ്. When you sow what you call the grains, നമ്മൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും വിതച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞ് അത് മുളച്ച് വരുമ്പോൾ, വയലിൽ നെല്ല് വിതച്ച് അത് മുളച്ച് വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് നെല്ലല്ലാതെ അതിൻ്റെ ഇടയ്ക്ക് എന്ത് മുളച്ച് വന്നാലും അത് വീഡ്സാണ്, അത് നമ്മൾ പറിച്ചു കളയും. സോ ഇവിടെ എന്താണ് പറയുന്നത്? These children, the life of the children, the poet wanted to bring in front of us the life of the slum school children, elementary classroom children. They are, how are they? Far, far from the restless waves, gusty waves, these children's face like rootless weeds. ഈ കുട്ടികളുടെ മുഖം എന്തിനോടാണ് കമ്പയർ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്? The poet is comparing to rootless weeds. I'll take you to the seashore and then you just imagine you are in the seashore where the waves are coming and hitting the shore. You can find there small plants are there. ഈ പ്ലാന്റുകളെല്ലാം because of the activity of the these waves അതെല്ലാം അപ്രൂട്ടായി വരും. അത് പറഞ്ഞു വരും. കുറേ തിരമാലകൾ വന്ന് അടിച്ചു കഴിയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും അതിൻ്റെ വേര് പറഞ്ഞു കൊണ്ടുവരും. ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത് ദ ഫേസസ് ഓഫ് ദിസ് ചിൽഡ്രൻ അപ്പിയേഴ്സ് ലൈക്ക് റൂട്ട്ലെസ് വീഡ്സ്. വാട്ട് ഡസ് ദ പോയിറ്റ് വാണ്ട് ടു സജസ്റ്റ് us? The poet, these weeds in the seashore is not protected from the waves attack. Anytime wave can coming and attack these weeds and it will be uprooted. അത് പറിച്ചു കളയും. അതിൻ്റെ വേരുകൾ പൊങ്ങി വരും, അത് നശിച്ചു പോകും. ഇൻ ദ സെയിം വേ ദീസ് ചിൽഡ്രൻ ആർ ഓൾസോ അൺപ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റഡ്. They are actually prone to all kind of diseases, all kind of injustice, all kind of starvation and everything. That means they are not at all protected. The life of the children in the slum school is compared to rootless weeds. The faces of the children here, the poet is comparing to the rootless weeds. The hair torn round their pallor. Now the next line of this poem, the hair torn round their pallor. You look at the head of this boy, you can find that this hair is just growing naturally. His hair is not actually combed. It is just as it has grown. The hair torn means scattered. The hair is scattered round their pallor. What is pallor? Pale face. On the pale face of the child or the children, the hair is simply scattered. So the poet is going on to explain how the children's faces appear and how their hair appears to be. The hair is scattered on their pale face. Now, the tall girl with her way down head. So the poet just continues to describing about different kind of children was sitting in the slum school. The boys, the children generally, we say that they are unprotected. And the hair of the boys are actually just scattered on their pale face. There is a tall girl in the classroom, the tall girl with her way down head. Her head is way down. Because of the weight of the burden of life, she is not able to keep her head straight. Bend down head. തലയിൽ എന്ത് ഭാരമാണുള്ളത്? Just because of the responsibility that girl has to take at a younger age, because of starvation and responsibility of the family, she is not able to keep her head straight. The tall girl with way down head. തല കുനിച്ച് നിൽക്കുന്ന പെൺകുട്ടി. Why? Because she is not able to look straight. Another boy, the paper seeming boy with a rat's eyes. The paper seeming boy. How the boy seems to be paper seeming. He is very lean and thin. The boy is lean and thin. The paper seeming boy with a rat's eyes. Eyes. What is the specialty of his eyes? Rat's eye. I believe that you might have seen the eye of a rat. റാറ്റിൻ്റെ ഐക്ക് എന്താണ് സംഭവിക്കുക? If you look at the rat's eye, when a rat comes and sits some places, it will just protrude. Its eyes are protruding. Protruding എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? It is coming out. Means it is projected outside. Why it is projected outside? Because it is not safe. It is afraid. Before it is moving, it is looking everywhere whether it is safe to move or not. So the children's eyes are also actually protruding. It is projecting outside, just like that of a rat, because they are also afraid. They are insecure. They are not having a peaceful life. The stunted, unlucky hair or twisted bonds reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. Again, these boys in the slum school, how are they? The stunted. Stunted means the growth is not proper. Stunted, undergrowth, underdeveloped. പൂർണ്ണമായ ഡെവലപ്മെൻ്റ് ഇല്ല, ശരീരം നന്നായിട്ട് വളർന്നിട്ടില്ല, മെലിഞ്ഞ് തൊലിഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്ന ശരീരം. ദ സ്റ്റണ്ടഡ് അൺലക്കി ഹെയർ. വൈ ദേ ആർ അൺലക്കി? വി ആർ ലക്കി പീപ്പിൾ, ബട്ട് ദേ ആർ അൺലക്കി. ഹെയർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? ഉത്തരാധികാരി. ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് സക്സസർ. The stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bonds. What they have inherited from their parents. The children normally inherit from their parents their property, their name, their prestige and everything. But these children, they have nothing to get from their parents. അവരുടെ പേരൻസിൽ നിന്ന് അവർക്ക് കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത് എന്താണ്? ശരീരത്തിൻ്റെ ഡിഫോമിറ്റീസ് ആണ്. അൺലക്കി ഹെയർ ഓഫ് ട്വിസ്റ്റഡ് ബോൺസ്. അവർക്ക് എന്താണ് കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത്? അച്ഛനുള്ള അസുഖം, അമ്മയ്ക്കുള്ള അസുഖമാണ് ഇവർക്ക് കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഹൗ ആർ ദെയർ ബോൺസ്? ദെയർ ബോൺസ് ആർ ട്വിസ്റ്റഡ്. ദേ ആർ നോട്ട് പ്രോപ്പർലി ഗ്രോൺ. Reciting a father's gnarled disease. They are reciting means enumerating, reflecting, showing out. അവരുടെ ശരീരത്തിൽ അവരെ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അവർ എന്തിനടിമയാണെന്ന് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവും. They are actually affected by the gnarled disease of their parents. So what these children have actually inherited from their parents? Twisted bonds and gnarled disease. Gnarled disease means incurable disease, naughty disease. The disease which cannot be cured. അച്ഛൻ്റെ അസുഖം, അമ്മയുടെ അസുഖം, പേരൻസിൻ്റെ അസുഖം, പേരൻസിനുള്ള ശരീരത്തിലുള്ള ഡിഫോമിറ്റിയാണ് അവർക്ക് കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഈസ് ലെസൺ ഫ്രം ഹിസ് ഡെസ്ക്. So these children who are sitting in the slum school, they are supposed to have a learning and reciting or reading the lesson, but they are not reading it. But what is actually reflecting, what is actually projected in their appearance? The thing that is projected in their appearance is the diseases that they have inherited from their parents. So understand clearly, these children are actually far away from the gusty verbs, far from gusty verbs. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ we understand that in the olden times every civilization developed by the side of the river. So these slum school children live in an isolated area where there is no fresh air, but the nativity of the seashore is affected. സീഷോറിൽ നിൽക്കുന്ന കളകളെ വേര് പിഴുതി എറിയുന്ന what do you call it, the waves-നെ പോലെ these children are also affected by all kind of outward disadvantages. But they don't get any freshness of the seashore because they are not in the seashore. Okay, that is a native aspect only. So what they have inherited from their parents, they have inherited all kind of diseases from their parents. It's lessons from the desk. Instead of reciting the lesson, they are reciting the father's gnarled disease. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ the word reciting has been used because it is in the context of the classroom. ഇവിടെ ക്ലാസ്സിലിരുന്ന് അവർ ലെസൺ റിസൈറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് പകരം അവരുടെ ശരീരത്തിൽ നിന്ന് പുറത്തേക്ക് റിഫ്ലക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് അച്ഛൻ്റെയും അമ്മയുടെയും പേരൻസിൽ നിന്ന് കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഡിസീസസ് ആണ് എന്നാണ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. At the back of the dim class, in the class is not lighted, sufficient light is not there in the class. It's a dim class, slum school, dim class. One unnoted sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream. So we were discussing about different kind of children in the slum school. First of all, we have said that the boy whose hair is torn around his pallor, scattered hair ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കുട്ടി. That means this is not only one boy, some of the boys are like that. That one boy is actually representing some of the boys. Tall girl with way down head. And again another set of students, who are they? those children who have inherited the diseases of their parents. Now the fourth type of children who are sitting in the slum school are, there is a boy at the back of the dim class. ആ ക്ലാസ് റൂമിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും പുറകിൽ, ഇരുണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ആ ക്ലാസ് റൂമിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും പുറകിൽ അവിടെ ഒരു കുട്ടിയുണ്ട്. One unnoted. Unnoted means normally people don't see that particular boy because he is very sweet and young. Look at the face of this boy, even in the picture. He is very sweet and young. Since he is young, he is very sweet. His eyes live in a dream. അവൻ്റെ കണ്ണ് ഇപ്പോഴും തിളങ്ങുന്നുണ്ട് because he is a very small boy. He has not experienced much of the life and therefore his eyes live in a dream. Now question can be asked, what are the 4 different types of children occupy the classroom in a slum school? I'll repeat. First of all, the boys who have got the hair scattered on their pale face. Number 2, tall girl with way down head. Number 3, children who have inherited the disease of their parents. Number 4, one unnoted sweet boy whose eyes live in a dream. So out of these 4 types of children who are occupying this particular classroom, you cannot imagine a classroom like yours because you have got a standardized education. You have got a class 1, 2, 3 like that up to 12. So children of the same age group are studying in the same school, not much difference. And streamlined education you are undergoing. But in a slum school, what happens, there may be one classroom which is not properly ventilated, which will be dirty. One teacher will be there. All kind of children coming from different background, belonging to different classes will be sitting in the same class only. So that is why this class is a mixture of people. We can find that a different age group. So there is a small boy. It is a positive sign that there is a dream in his eye. അവൻ്റെ കണ്ണിൽ ഇപ്പോഴും അവൻ സ്വപ്നം കാണുന്നു. Other children, the 3 types of children about whom already mentioned earlier, they have even forgotten to dream. അവർക്ക് സ്വപ്നം കാണാൻ പോലും പറ്റാത്ത ഒരവസ്ഥയിൽ അവർ ഇരിക്കുന്ന അവസ്ഥയാണ്. പക്ഷേ ഈ കുട്ടിക്ക് സ്വപ്നം കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ട്. His eyes live in a dream. If you look at his eyes, you can understand that this boy is having some kind of happiness in his mind, or rather he has still have a dream. What is a dream? Then only we will understand. You see, what is a dream that he has? He is dreaming about what you see on the screen right now. He is dreaming of squirrel's game in the tree room. Other than this, he is not reading the textbook. He is not reciting the poem. He is not listening to the teacher. He is doing something else only. What is he dreaming about? He is dreaming of squirrel's game. What is the squirrel's game? He is dreaming a squirrel's game in the tree room. Other than this, why other than this? What is his work? His work is to concentrate in the class work, concentrate in the lesson that is taught to him, but he is distracted. The boy, even though his eyes are bright, why it is bright? Because he is distracted. He is thinking about something which gives him entertainment. What is the thing that gives him entertainment? Thinking about a type of game that a boy of his age normally play. If I am able to take you back to your younger days, during holidays and all that, you may enjoy different kind of game at home. അതിൽ ഏതൊക്കെ ഗെയിമാണ് നിങ്ങൾ കളിക്കുക എന്ന് ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ആൻസേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. പോലീസ് ആൻഡ് തീഫ് അല്ലേ, കള്ളനും പോലീസും കളിക്കാറുണ്ടാവും, ഒളിച്ചു കളിക്കാറുണ്ടാവും. പിന്നെ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ഗെയിം. ഐ എം ജസ്റ്റ് മെൻഷനിങ് 1 or 2 only. There is also a type of game that children used to play to find out the house or the shelter of a squirrel. ഒരു സ്ക്വിറൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണെന്ന് നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, പിക്ചറിൽ കാണുന്നുണ്ട്, അണ്ണാൻ. അപ്പോൾ സ്ക്വിറലിനെ കണ്ടു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിൻ്റെ പുറകെ പോയി അത് എവിടെയാണ് കൂട് കൂട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത് എന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുക. അതാണ് ഗെയിം. ഓക്കെ, നൗ ദിസ് ബോയ്, the young boy who is sitting at the back of the classroom, who is unnoted. Normally people don't look at him. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവനെ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കപ്പെടുകയല്ല, ചെറുതാണ്, ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ചെറിയ കുട്ടിയാണ്. പക്ഷേ if you look at him, his face is very sweet and he is a very young boy. But what is the problem with him? He is dreaming, he is distracted. His eyes lives in a dream of squirrel game. He is thinking about the type of game that he normally plays. That is going after the squirrel and just finding out his shelter in a tree room. What is a tree room? ട്രീയുടെ ഉള്ളിൽ ഉള്ള ഹോളോയിലാണ് ഈ squirrels normally make their house. So he says that he is distracted. What is he thinking about? He is thinking about the shelter of a squirrel in a tree room. Other than this, what is other than this? He is actually not of any of the type of children we have mentioned earlier. He is also not interested in the lesson, but he is interested in his own activity. So what we understand, what is the conclusion that we can come into is that none of the type of children in the slum school are suitable for study. They are all either distracted or disturbed by the pressure of the life, or they are all not healthy, therefore they cannot attend the class properly. So you can imagine the type of children in the slum school. Now, how does a classroom in a slum school appears to be? Look at the wall of the classroom. On sour cream wall, the wall of the classroom, just look at the picture, the wall of the classroom is sour. Why sour? Sour means unpleasant, not pleasant. It's not nicely painted, old. It is faded away. It was painted earlier, but you can find that it's not a new paint. The picture that we find here is not a new paint. So therefore, it is faded. It is actually unpleasant. Cream walls. What will be cream? What is the color of a cream? Color of the cream is off-white. നമ്മൾ മോര് പാൽ ഉറയൊഴിച്ച് മോരായി കഴിയുമ്പോൾ, തൈരായി കഴിയുമ്പോൾ അതിൽ നിന്ന് അതിൻ്റെ വെണ്ണ നമ്മൾ നീക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിന് ക്രീം എന്ന് പറയും. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ കളറ് എന്താണ്? വൈറ്റ് അല്ല, ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു മഞ്ഞ കലർന്ന ഒരു കളറാണ്. അതിനെയാണ് ക്രീം എന്ന് പറയുക. ഓഫ് വൈറ്റ്, ക്രീം കളർ മീൻസ് ഓഫ് വൈറ്റ്. വൈ? ബിക്കോസ് ഈ പിക്ചർ we have just collected the visuals. It may not be exactly that of the visual of a slum school, but what the writer want to tell us is that ഈ പകുതി താഴത്തെ നീല കഴിഞ്ഞ് അതിൻ്റെ മേലോട്ടുള്ളത് വെള്ളയടിച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണ്. So if the classroom is painted completely in white color, but now it appears to be cream, means all the walls of the classroom has been faded away. It is dirtied. It is unpleasant. അതാണ് അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം. So what do you find on the walls of the classroom? The classroom normally used to be decorated with the different things. Here also you can find some things are hanging on the wall. But this, what is hanging on the wall, visuals we are collected from elsewhere, but it is not from the lesson. It's not directly linked with the lesson. So the lesson says that the wall of the classroom is decorated with the donations. What will be donation? Donation means gift. ആരെങ്കിലും ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് കൊടുത്തതാണ്. എന്താണ് കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്? Out of the donation that they have received, you may be able to identify this person on the screen. Shakespeare's head. What does it mean, Shakespeare's head? ഒരു ഷേക്സ്പിയറേ ഉള്ളൂ, അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ തല മുറിച്ച് അവിടെ കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് വെച്ചെന്നല്ല പറയുന്നത്. Any of the writing of Shakespeare, normally the front cover of the Shakespeare's book, you will find the head of the Shakespeare. അപ്പോൾ ഇതും അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ തന്നെയാണ്. ഏകദേശം ഫ്രണ്ട് അപ്പർ പോർഷൻ മാത്രമാണ് തന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. Why Shakespeare's head? what is important for the people about Shakespeare is his head. അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ തലയാണ്, അയാളുടെ തലച്ചോറാണ്. Because whatever he has written hundreds and hundreds of years ago is true yesterday, it is true today, and it will be true tomorrow also. And that is why people appreciate his brain. So, what do they have on the wall of the classroom? Number one, Shakespeare's picture. ഷേക്സ്പിയറിൻ്റെ തല അടക്കമുള്ള മോൾ ഭാഗം മാത്രമുള്ള പിക്ചറാണ് ഒന്ന്. How did they get that picture? They got it as donation from somebody. Somebody has gifted. When somebody comes to the school, they have gifted. You see, when MB has come to our school, he has just made some announcement that he is going to give us vehicle, he is going to just give us some money so that we can have a computer installed in the classroom, we can make our classroom smart and all that. Okay, so donations, gift that is received from others. Different kind of gifts are there received by this particular slum school, and which is given on the wall of the classroom as decoration. Out of that, one is Shakespeare's head. The second one, cloudless at dawn. You look at this cloudless at dawn. Dawn means the morning time. That is, രാവിലെ നൈറ്റും പകലുമായിട്ട് കൂട്ടി അണക്കുന്ന സമയത്തിനാണ് ഡോൺ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So early morning the sky used to be very clear because there is not much pollution. The weather will be clean, means you can find cloudless at dawn. What is cloudless at dawn? Civilized dome riding all cities. So the second item that we can find is civilized dome. Dome എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഗോപുരം മേലെ മുകളിലേക്ക് പൊങ്ങി നിൽക്കുന്ന. You see the picture of a mosque which is shown here. It doesn't mean it is mosque alone. Any building which has got this structure, ഇങ്ങനെ മുകളിലേക്ക് പൊങ്ങി നിൽക്കുന്ന, ഡോമായിട്ട് പൊങ്ങിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സ്ട്രക്ചറിനെയാണ് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. You can see in the picture, it is very clear. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ രാവിലെ തെളിഞ്ഞു നിൽക്കുന്ന ആകാശത്തിൽ പൊങ്ങി നിൽക്കുന്ന ഗോപുരങ്ങൾ, അതാണ് രണ്ടാമത്തെ ഐറ്റം. ഓക്കെ, ദ വാൾ ഓഫ് ദ ക്ലാസ് റൂം ഈസ് ഡെക്കറേറ്റഡ് വിത്ത് ഷേക്സ്പിയേഴ്സ് ഹെഡ്. നമ്പർ 2, ഡോംസ്, cloudless at dome, which is riding all cities. Which is riding all cities means which is available in all cities. This kind of domes you can find in all cities. Next, belled, flowery, Tyrolese valley. You see, a third item which is used to decorate the wall of the classroom is belled. Belled means music. Wedding bells. What does it mean, wedding bell? Wedding music. അപ്പോൾ സംഗീതം നിറഞ്ഞു നിൽക്കുന്ന ഫ്ലവർ കൊണ്ട് ഡെക്കറേറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു വാലി. വാലി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അത് നാച്ചുറൽ സീനറി, എ സീനറി വിച്ച് ഇസ് ഗിവൺ ഓൺ ദ വാൾ ഓഫ് ദ ക്ലാസ് റൂം. അത് എന്തിൻ്റെയാണ്? Tyrolese valley. Tyrol. What is Tyrol? Tyrolese valley, it is pertaining, it is actually connected with a place called Tyrol, an Austrian Alpine province. ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിലുള്ള ഒരു പ്രോവിൻസിലാണ് ഈ ടൈറോൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു സ്ഥലമുള്ളത്. ആ വാലി ഇറ്റ്സ് വെരി ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ. അവിടെ രാവിലെ നമ്മൾ പോവുകയാണ്, വി ഫീൽ ദാറ്റ് ഒരു നാച്ചുറലായിട്ടൊരു മ്യൂസിക് ഫില്ല് ചെയ്ത ഒരു സ്ഥലം മാതിരി, വളരെ നിശബ്ദമായിട്ട് പൂക്കളൊക്കെ അണിഞ്ഞു നിൽക്കുന്ന പ്രകൃതി സൗന്ദര്യത്തെ നമുക്ക് ദർശിക്കാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. സോ 3 things that are used to decorate the classroom wall which has been received by these people as donations are: number 1, keep in mind, Shakespeare-ന്റെ picture. Number 2, civilized domes which appears to be cloudless, very clean in the morning, which we normally find all cities. The third one is Tyrolese valley. Tyrolese valley എന്താണെന്ന് നിങ്ങളുടെ ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബുക്കിൽ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നോക്കാം. So when you say that the belt, it is filled with the music. Flowery means covered by flowers. Triolis Valley, it is from Australia. അപ്പം ക്ലാസ് റൂമിൽ കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്ന മൂന്ന് കാര്യങ്ങൾ, നാലാമതൊരു കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൂടിയുണ്ട്. So the three things which are given in the classroom, Shakespeare is meaningless for the people in the slum school. കാരണം whatever the Shakespeare has written, he has written about sophisticated people, the luxury life of the people. He has written about King of England. He has written about Macbeth. He has written about Othello. All what he has written about these people, that cannot be appreciated by the people in the slum school, because to understand Shakespeare you need basic education. These children don't have a basic education. Hello children, I think I have just crossed the limit of the time. You are supposed to have a next class. I just forgot.